Hi everyone, Ronnie here. I have finished my December daily album, and so I thought I'm going to do a little flip through for you before I pack it away. I've had a few people ask me on social media to do a flip through, and I was like, you know what, since this is going to be the year of me doing more YouTube videos, I decided this is a good idea. So I got the Santa album from Ali Edwards, and I got it because I loved working in this size last year, and this album, she's chunky. Like, she's not a little tiny little album. She's thick and she just bulge out a little bit. It doesn't really bother me so much because as long as it's not standing out like that, I don't particularly care if my albums are a bit thick. So, but just FYI, she's a big one. So this is my opening page, and I did some embossing on this whole page that we got in like this, was it a die cut pack that we got in the kit? Not sure, but I did some star embossing and I just did a little bit of embellishment here. You open that up to a full page photo of a photo shoot that we did. So this is our little family photo, and I just embellished it with some hearts up there. Then on this side, this here is my reason why, and I used a little paper from with all the gifts that I fussy cut out, and I created this little border. This year I kept a daily gratitudes page, so I did that on both sides, where every day I just kind of mentioned something that I'm grateful for, and it doesn't necessarily line up to what the story of my day is, but often it does. So that's my gratitudes page. Here I've got like a little intro page. So this is why my album is so thick, because my intro pages alone take up like half my album. But it's basically just the little cards, and I did a little like journaling on the back here. These were from last year's prep party, I think. So everyone has got one of these, and I'll put that aside. I'll reassemble that all later. I just stitched together these two felt pockets to create this kind of flap. I did intend to put a photo in the back here, but I guess I never did that. This was one of my like foundation pages. I just used the alpha from this year's kit, and I used my silhouette to cut out these numbers, and I just wanted to give like a bit of a snapshot of what this album is going to look like by using some of my favorite papers. This is day number 1. It is a digital from the 2021 layer templates, and it was a story of me going to like an event with my work people, and I just decorated it very basically with some stars. Here I've got the story of our tree. So this is day 2, and this is like a transparency that I laid over a bouquet photo of my tree. And then on the other side, I've got a picture of my daughter hanging up her favorite ornament, and my journaling here. And then on this side, I used a full page photo as kind of the background because it was quite blurry, and you can see a bit of detail down here with these 3 photos on top. So that is that one. These 2 pages are page 3, and I used the frames, and what I did is I actually used my X-Acto knife to cut out the frame so that I know that all the photos would fit kind of exactly in there. And I used some alcohol inks for a bit of mixed media on this page. And then my journaling is here. I really wanted to try and actually include a bit of handwritten journaling this year, because I feel like I've sort of forgotten to do that in recent years. So I definitely wanted to have a bit of handwriting in this album. I just did a little embellishment, and I used some Nuvo drops just to create a bit of dimension, not that there wasn't dimension on this page already, but anyway. Moving on, this was kind of just a filler page. I didn't really have a photo to put on the back here, so that is actually like a hot pink glittery paper, which I loved, and this acrylic piece from Colorcast Designs, which acts as a title because this whole day was about finding magic in like the smaller moments. So I created these 2 flip outs. Oh, you can't see that. Yeah, I created these 2 flip outs, and yeah, had a bit of fun with some digital products there and on here. So it was quite a fun little day to get crafty. Then on this side, I stopped kind of using any sort of December colours for the next few layouts, but that's okay. This is day 5, and it's just a story about how my daughter slept in our room with us, and I did my journaling directly on the photo there. Here is a story about the advent calendar. So this was day 6, and I used this cut file, which was from the kit. I think it was maybe an add-on this year. So I used this cut file and I decorated. The story is just all about my daughter's advent calendar, and that continues on to day number, well, this is day number 7, so that continues on to the back of day number 6. So that is how that looked. Then day 7, I had a really busy day at work, and I didn't really have time to do much of an intense story. So I'd already created day 7 on this particular transparency here of the leaves, and so I just created like a full page photo, and I decided to make this all about my doggy, and I listed all of the names that we call her in different alphas. I did some stamping, I did a bit of embossing. I used a lot of my alpha stash here, which was really good because it's a nice way to really use your stash. Then this is just a filler page because I wanted to tell a bit of a story about our little family photo shoot that we did. So some of the photos from that family shoot are scattered in throughout the album. So this flips up to tell that story a little bit. So I've got the date November there because that shows me when these photos were taken. But then I thought that this is just a very simple layout of those pictures. This was a foundation page that I was inspired to do by Ali. She did something very similar in her December Daily album, and then this flips out and, oh, there we go, you can see it again properly. And I just used these 3 photos, and I kind of like made together this journaling card. It's all about my mum and dad's 38th wedding anniversary, so that's why I've got the little 38 there. And I like that this is a bit of an interactive element, and yeah, I just like how that all turned out. Now, moving on to day number 9 on the back of this page, and it's just a day where we celebrated Christmas with my sister-in-law and her now fiance. They got engaged on Christmas Day, and so we're very excited about that, but they were not here for Christmas, so we celebrated with them on the 9th, and so I did some journaling in a circular form, and I stuck it right on the back there, added some more photos here, and calling and moving on. Day number 10 was Justin's Christmas party, but it ended up just being a story about how much I love Justin and how silly he is and how he always makes me laugh because he did like a funny pose in our photo shoot that we were doing beforehand, and so I thought just to embrace that and to use, again, a digital from, I think this might be from this year's layer template pack. I'm not 100% sure because I got both 2021 and 2022. I used this beautiful acrylic piece from Colorcast Designs, and yeah, this day came together very quickly because it was basically all done for me. Bit of a bigger day here. This is story 11, and this is our annual Friendmas celebration. So again, used another layer template here, did some journaling down here, but I thought I needed a bit more space to kind of talk about specific things. So this is just like a little filler photo that I really wanted to use this transparency. I used a lot of transparencies in my album this year, and I really wanted to use this one, and I knew that I wanted to use this on the day that we did this particular celebration. So that is why I took this photo with a lot of sort of, not white space, but a lot of the blue in the background to really make that stand out. On the other side, I just used this thicker piece that we got in the kit and just a colourful paper. So these papers are both from the Rainbow scrapbooking kit, and I thought they matched really well with like how bright and colourful this photo was, so that's why I used this. Used this paper as a template to tell just a few more little stories about my friend bringing his little kayak, about my other friend baking us a cake, and about Emma and Justin just having a bit of a giggle. And I have this repeated element here where I did a bit of stitching. So you can see I did a bit of hand stitching there. I'm finding with my sewing machine still, so I didn't actually do any like stitching, but it's all hand stitching. And I layered some of these hearts, and I really like how these little clusters ended up looking. So that is that. Next story is a story of my daughter's Christmas concert at her school. And I absolutely love this. Is possibly my favorite page in the whole album. This was a paper that we got that had this grid pattern already included, and so I just worked off that, and I really try to follow like the rule of 3s. So every element that you can see kind of is repeated 3 times. So this is actually me using my Big Shot for the first time, cutting out the happy, love, and with, and then pairing it with you, and you. So those 3 3 of the little filler cards, 3 of these little strips, and 3 loads of journaling. As you can see, like I really followed the rule of 3s in this particular layout, and I really love how it turned out. Now at this point in my album, I was starting to realize that it's getting really bulky in the inside and not so bulky on the outside. So I decided to create some more bulk on this outside, because you obviously add like the inserts in the middle here. It started to dip down on the side. So I was like, I need to start actually adding a bit of bulk here. So I took that liberty and I really made this page very thick and chunky, but I love how it turned out. I really wanted to go for more of like a scrappy, messy sort of look in this particular page. And yeah, love how it turned out. Love all these like stars that I put on there, the stitching, that little girl with like holding a Christmas stocking, because the whole story was about the teachers' gifts that we made for Emila's teachers, which I thought was quite appropriate. So that's that story. Day 14 was a foundation page, so I kind of set up these pockets in advance. I hadn't decorated them. I knew that I wanted to use this day to document Emila's last day of school, which is really good because then I knew what kind of photos I needed to take to put in the back here. And this was every year in my December daily, I write a letter to my daughter, and I decided to write that letter here on her last day of school and slip that in to this little pocket here, and I did some stamping, not stitching, stamping on the front here. So this was also set up beforehand. I also really love how this page turned out. This was day 15, and this is all about what I'm loving right now, and it was so super easy because I used another digital template here, and I did a bit of like stamping in color just to bring that in. And I did these tiny little stickers, which I absolutely adore, and I will buy them every year that they're available because I absolutely love them. And so this page, again, was very, very quick. I didn't want to really put much on the back here, so I just put the number 15 and moved on. Another flip out here, so like I said, I wanted to bulk out the outside of my album, so this opens up, and then once you open it up, there's a double flip on this side, and this is all about seeing Santa. And I really like how that ended up turning out, and I will fix that later. So I did a bit of clustering, wanted to use this acrylic piece, of course, so I was saving that for the day, and I really enjoy this page. Now what I do is when I have two separate stories next to each other that don't relate, I like to have something in the middle that sort of separates them a bit, and so in this particular instance I used this, this was a digital die cut that I cut on my silhouette, and I did on both sides just on some gold foil paper. And yeah, so I did that on both sides, and it just separates these two stories a little bit, and I felt like it was appropriate to tell the story of day 17. Very, very super simple. I went on a boat, and I didn't know anyone really, and so basically it meant that I was too scared to take too many photos, so that is why this page, I just took like one photo of the day and then did some journaling. I used this December day. I think that came from maybe the 2021 layer templates kit as well. I'm not sure, but I cut it out on my with some glittery cardstock, white glittery cardstock on my silhouette, and kept this page really super simple, and I love how that turned out. Here is a story of my work. I showed up 6 hours early to work this day by accident. I work at markets, so I run markets, and we had our final market of the year, and then I decided to just show up 6 hours early, which was quite funny, but it meant that I got Justin and Emila to join me, and so for the first time in a very, very long time, I could actually just enjoy one of our markets without working at it. So it was like a nice day, did a bit of journaling here, and then on the opposite side, I just backed it with this paper that matched the background paper here. I didn't really have anything to go there, so that's why that's just empty. And I liked these, like I said, I really like these transparencies, so I used them a lot in my album this year. This, I really wanted to use this piece as soon, this story is all about my gym burning down, which was very unfortunate, and I knew I wanted to use this because it didn't make me feel very festive. So I laid this and I stitched a little vellum pocket next to a photo, and then my journaling is on this card. There's another photo on the back here, and on this tag I decided to actually add some of the email, so this is the email that we got from the gym saying that the club had closed, and on the back here was like a little update, and I added dates in my journaling to create a bit of a timeline, and it's a really fun way to just include a bit of sort of media and digital elements into my album, which I try to do often, but I don't always succeed in that. So I really like how that turned out. Slot that back in, and then on the opposite side here, I've got this tag page. And the thing with this tag page is quite difficult to, because the holes in these vellum tags that laid on top of the paper, they're quite big. They do move around a little bit, but they're not going to move out of my album, so I just have to kind of fix that every now and then. So I did 3 lots of journaling, all about my last day of work and what we were doing, and then you can sort of flip it all up and look at the photos like so. And I really wanted to use this particular paper for one of the days, and so I'm glad I got this day. Then on the opposite side, I don't have anything to fill in here, so I might add something down the track. I don't really know, but that is an option. It was just a very, very basic day of self-care because like I'd finished work, and so I did a lot of like my new haircut, I did my eyebrows, I went for a massage, I took myself out to lunch. I just really relaxed, and I took this selfie specifically for my album, and I glued it on and then fake stitched between the two, created a little title. So, and then again, I cut out this phrase from that on the same day that I cut out the one from day 17, which is this day here. So I also cut that out, and I thought I would use it down here. So that was a very simple page. I wish I did my journaling a little bit smaller, but I forgot that my printer kind of like blows up my journaling, so I wasn't going to reprint it. It was fine, but I just wish it was like a little bit smaller. Moving on, this was a foundation page kind of that I'd set up, and I didn't know exactly how I wanted to use it, and so on this day pretty much I did all my Christmas shopping, and then I had a gym session, or well, a workout session with my trainer, and she gave me a Christmas present, so that is kind of what I'm documenting in this photo. I had thought that I didn't really have enough like full page photos by this stage, and I really wanted like a full page photo to set off the busyness of this day 22, and so this is when I added another full page photo of when my daughter and we as a family we did that photo shoot. So this is one of those photos, so I just decided to put that in there, and then for day 23 I could flip over to a brand new day, which will then also be paired with a full page photo. So this was day 23 using the chipboard circles. I was very much inspired by Morgan Beale and how to do the journaling in here, because I wanted to, like I said, include my handwriting a bit more, so this was one of the ways, and I just kind of did random things throughout the day and then took photos of it. I didn't time them or anything, but that's kind of what I did, and I just decided to do a little bit of journaling about that and call that done. Now here I've got just an acetate sheet of stars. I use this in my December daily literally every year, so it's always been like a common element between my albums. And then now we're moving into Christmas Eve, and I decided to use this full page photo of my family because we always do Christmas Eve celebration at my parents' house, and so we definitely have this. You'll notice that there's a little chicken in this photo. I had a lot of photos, and this one I kind of liked the most, even though Emila's not looking at the camera and even though she's kind of covering my dad's face with a chicken. It was quite a nice little photo just to show how excited she was about getting these chickens for Christmas. So flipping over here is actually the full day of the 24th of December. I wanted to tell the story of the chickens kind of more on this side, and my daughter, as soon as she held this chicken, the first thing she said is, "I can't believe that I'm holding a chicken." So I decided to stamp that out and add a bit of an interactive element there. On the back there, I actually have just one of the cards that we got in December Daily, but it was a bit of fun to tell the story this way. I do tell it more here, but I decided to include it on this side as well because I thought it was quite funny. And she was just so excited. This was actually a screenshot from a video that I was taking as she was, as she took these chickens out of this big box that they came in. So decided to embellish it using these stars, which I hadn't used enough of this month. And moving on to this side, so this is kind of like a whole day in the life type of thing. So I start off talking about how I went boxing in the morning with my boxing crew, and then I moved on to talk about the chickens, who are, by the way, called Lula and Sela. And then I talked about how we opened our gifts and what we did at my parents' house that evening. And then I talked about how my mum dressed up as Santa Claus, which was really funny, and the kids just absolutely love it. And I just realised my daughter is in the house somewhere, so I hope she didn't hear that. Okay, last page here is talking about Christmas Eve where Emma slept in our living room in a little tent that she got for Christmas, which matched our matching pajamas. And that moves straight on to December 25th. Normally I try to be quite crafty with how I open up the 25th of December, but like I said, really into these transparencies this year, and I just kind of wanted to create this little bit of a textured element. So this is sort of how that turned out, and I don't mind it. I quite like how it is simple but effective. The one thing I don't love is how it like falls like right over my face. I would have liked if it was just like completely over my face or not on my face at all, but at the end of the day I actually don't care too much to change it, so it was how it was. I was not going to reprint this photo and resize it. So yeah, so that is the first day, the 25th of December, and a full page photo, which again I love because it's not like the best photo that we took in the morning, but it makes me laugh because she's just so happy and Alfie was licking her toes and it was just like a whole thing, so I just wanted to include that. Flipping over to the other side, this is like the nice family photo that we got, right? And so this was all about like Christmas morning, opening up presents, and my dad coming over and taking some, my mum and dad both coming over actually, and taking some photos for the album. And yeah, it was just like a relaxed, chill morning. What I really liked though is that when I bought our Christmas pajamas, which is from Cotton On here in Australia, they actually were in the shop. They had like matching Christmas cards. So I was like, of course I have to get a matching Christmas card that matched the pajamas, because I was like, that's just perfect. And then as you open it up, I've got my journaling inside and another little photo. Close that down. I used a little like attacher from, I think, Citrus Dress to kind of attach this into the album. Flipping this over on the back, it's a little Polaroid. So on Christmas Day, my daughter got a Polaroid camera for Christmas because she's been really into taking photos. And so I took a few photos as well, and some of her photos and some of my photos are going to be in on Christmas Day. This was a foundation page as well that we set up, and I'd set that up. Probably this was, I think, the first thing I did, because I love these like felt presents, and I knew I wanted to use it on Christmas Day or Christmas morning when I wanted to tell a little story of opening presents. So I added this photo of my daughter and my husband going and looking at the Christmas presents together, and she was handing them all out to everyone. So this was like during Christmas lunch at my mother-in-law's house. On the opposite side, I took a photo of my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and Emma all together, and I got this little piece from, where did I get this from? Like, it was on a card or something from like a few years ago, so I thought I'd just add that down the bottom there, add a little heart. Added another Polaroid that Emma took, which fit perfectly on the back here. You cannot see it on the other side, like that's the exact size, which I thought was just amazing. So I decided to add that there with a little love heart. All of my journaling from the day is on, or from the afternoon I should say, is on this piece of paper, and I just added this. Honestly, it was kind of random. I didn't really think about it too much. Maybe I should cut it into like maybe a tag shape, but we'll see. I haven't decided. Honestly, I might just put this away. I'm kind of done with this album now. I'm happy it's finished. I love it. I'm done with it. I'm ready to put it away. Whatever's not done is not done. So I've got this on the side here. When you flip that over, I've got just a random photo of like the decoration of our table because it was festive, and then another Polaroid that I took the evening of Christmas when we had two of our friends come over just for like a few drinks to relax. That's one of our best Christmas tradition, is that we call it Fam Christmas, FAM, and they just come over. Usually we have other people there as well, but they were busy this particular Christmas day, so they couldn't come. But yeah, where we all just bring a bit of leftovers and we nibble on whatever leftover food we have and chat and talk about the new year. Onto this page. This is kind of a special page. On Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day, and on Boxing Day, I took photos of Emma with each of her living grandmas, and I decided to create a page that's just dedicated to them and what she calls them. So this is Oma Nella, that's my mum's mum. My dad's mum has passed away. This is Gigi, so that's Justin's mum's mum, and Gigi stands for great grandma, and so she calls her Gigi. And this is Nonna, which is my husband's dad's mum. So that's all of her living great grandparents, and I thought that's like really special to have them all together, and it was all like 3 days in a row, which again I like. Now during the prep day this year, I stamped out this page, and so I didn't want it to kind of get lost behind this photo, so I decided to use kind of the final big photo that we had from that photo shoot on here. I was going to put something like Goodbye December on there, but I thought that this quote actually just says it all, and so that is kind of just the closing page in my album, and I quite like how simply beautiful it is. Like, I like the quote, I like the font. It closes out the fact that I did a lot of stamping, and it's got this one photo of Emila there too, and the colours really match well together. So that's it. That's my album, my 2022 December daily album, and I'm very, very grateful that it is done. It is thick, like I said, probably because for the last 2 days, like, it's basically an album in itself. So it is, she's a thick girl, but we love her. I'm very, very happy with how it turned out, and I am excited to put her away and start getting pumped again for next year. So thank you for joining me. I will see you all again in the near future with another video. And there we go. Thank you guys. Bye.